While there are a ton of widely adored nepotism baby stars like Timothée Chalamet and Dakota Johnson, there are also quite a handful of celebrities who sit on the opposite side of this debated spectrum. For today's Where Are They Now countdown, we're breaking down our picks of the top 10 spoiled nepo babies everyone in Hollywood hates. Is there a celebrity you consider to be a nepo baby who's not mentioned on today's list? Share your responses below and let's jump right in. In our 10th spot, Maude Apatow. Maude was supposedly the originator of the nepo baby discourse that blew up the last year. The world's obsession with such celebrities seemingly began after a Twitter user named Miriam is Tired expressed their initial shock over the Euphoria star being the daughter of Leslie Mann, and what they stated was a movie director, better known as famed filmmaker Judd Apatow. Then, New York Magazine's December 2022 to January 2023 cover package depicted an incredibly detailed review of Hollywood's finest nepotism babies and pop culture's love-hate obsession over their statuses. Culture editor Giselle Amami once said on the topic, with a single tweet made about Maude, the phrase nepo baby became part of our collective vocabulary this year. Suddenly it felt like everywhere you looked, there was another child of a famous person booking a role. But Maude has seemed to take her newfound status used against her in grace, as she once informed CNN how she would work hard to not let the comments get her down because of the fortunate position she was born into. Before we jump into number 9, subscribe to our channel for more trending celebrity content. In our 9th spot, Sam Levinson. This Euphoria creator, whose father is the famous director behind Good Morning Vietnam, is probably one of the most mutually disliked nepotism babies in more recent times. Days dedicated a whole March 2023 online article about Sam titled, "Sam Levinson is not immature, he's a spoiled nepo baby." As such, the outlet goes on a tirade about how much Sam's latest work, The Idol, featuring massive stars and other nepotism babies like Jennie Kim from Blackpink and Lily Rose Depp, is only one of many prime examples of why Sam is reportedly undeserving of the spotlight on him. According to not just Days but many other articles and outlets, Sam is infamous for dumbing down and over-sexualizing women's trauma for the sake of entertainment. It's been argued that because of just how grandly HBO blew up over the last few years from Euphoria, the series network will allow Sam to tell whatever wild story he feels to keep the hype going, no matter how many of their other reportedly more underrated and compelling women-forward shows they produce. To finalize Day's article on Sam left readers with some food for thought, so to say, the last 2 lines of the piece are written, "As viewers, we'll do anything to remember that flashy filmmaking does not make him Baz Luhrmann. He's just a guy who got lucky off his dad's last name and a terrible Drake cosign." In our 8th spot, Lily Rose Depp. Lily Rose was a star mentioned in the last point, but she very much paves the way for her own, according to the general public's opinion. It's been argued that she's benefited just as much from her inherently good looks as her inherited fame, but the star just doesn't agree. In fact, she formerly told Elle how she felt the nepo brand against her held sexist undertones as opposed to the males in her position. Further detailing, "It's weird to me to reduce somebody to the idea that they're only there because it's a generational thing." As the daughter of famed actor Johnny Depp and French singer Vanessa Paradis, Lily Rose's other bizarre statement about her life not being any different than that of doctors' children, while adding denial of her parents' status influencing her career, reportedly warranted the backlash she received following. Fans claim Lily Rose added to the general issue surrounding the topic, with one stating, "This is the problem with rich people born into privilege. They have literally no perspective on what the average person has to do just to get resources and opportunities they were born with." However, Lily Rose will be the first to fight against that, as proven by her views of how hard she apparently has to work to maintain the success she was born into. Quote, "The internet cares a lot more about who your family is than the people who are casting you in things. Maybe you'll get your foot in the door, but you still just have your foot in the door. There's a lot of work that comes after that." In our 7th spot, Gwyneth Paltrow. We all know about Hailey Bieber's nepotism lifestyle thanks to her father Stephen Baldwin and her uncle Alec Baldwin. But did you know she also once sat down with other nepo baby Gwyneth Paltrow to discuss their privileged lives? As the daughter of Blythe Danner and Bruce Paltrow, it's equally as telling as it is obvious for Gwyneth to discuss the lifestyle they were born into. The two stars and members of the exclusive Hollywood club sat down for a summer 2022 chit-chat about how nepotism babies have to apparently work twice as hard. Gwyneth's appearance at the time was for Hailey's YouTube series Who's in My Bathroom, and the touchy subject of their status soon came up. While Gwen was merely there to taste Hailey's mint chocolate chip smoothie, they ended up doing takes on Hailey's industry relatives in the process. At one point, Gwyneth shared the time early on in her career when she did a movie with Alec and discussed how her mother was the reason she was introduced to acting. She also alleged working twice as hard as someone without her connections, fully stating, "As a child of somebody, you get access that other people don't have. The playing field is not level in that way. However, I do feel that once your foot is in the door, which you unfairly got in, then you have to work almost twice as hard and be twice as good. Because people are ready to pull you down and say you don't belong there, or you are only there because of your dad or your mom." Gwyneth later added how the idea shouldn't limit you because what I really believe is that nobody in the world, especially anybody that doesn't know you, should have a negative impact on your path or the decisions that you make. In our 6th spot, Ben Stiller. Ben, who is the son of late comedic actors Ann Mira and Jerry Stiller, once got into a huge Twitter debate regarding the role nepotism played in his career, something he naturally received a ton of backlash over. Back in July 2021, Ben and Blacklist founder Franklin Leonard seemed to clash online after Franklin pointed out something regarding a then recent film cast. Ben later fired back in a spirited conversation about whether or not nepotism played a part, or if gigs were solely given based on talent. The debate initially surrounded Sean Penn's son, Hopper, and his landing a role in a short film directed by other nepotism babies, Dexter Spielberg and Owen King, Steven Spielberg and Stephen King's daughter and son respectively. In a rather blunt post, Franklin commented, "Hollywood's a meritocracy, right?" on a split photo of the post about the successful Hollywood artist. Franklin did backtrack his statement slightly, but it wasn't enough for Ben to refrain from stepping in. In response, Ben tweeted, "Too easy at Franklin Leonard. People working, creating. Everyone has their path. Wish them all the best." This then proceeded to turn into a whole argument basically, which concluded from a final thread Franklin posted, where he questioned his beginning inquiry while also wishing all creative endeavors well at that point. In our 5th spot, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee recognizes her privilege without attempting to defensively brush it aside. While she has dubbed the term hurtful, she also acknowledged that she certainly had advantages within the industry as the daughter of Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis. Via Instagram, the actress wrote at the end of 2022, "For the record, I have navigated 44 years with the advantages my associated and reflected fame brought me. I don't pretend there aren't any." This came after New York Magazine published their Year of the Nepo Baby feature, which described the lineages of various young Hollywood members who had been tied to famous parents or other relatives in the entertainment world. The article also explored how this act of nepotism gave them a boost in the success they may not have otherwise had. For Jamie Lee's part, she further challenged the sentiment that the generalization of wealth and privilege she was born with doesn't necessarily equate to her being talentless. In fact, she wrote in the post about just how many other actors and Hollywood stars still dedicate their all to their crafts, to stand strong on their beliefs, and become proud of continuing their lineage. To end off the post, Jamie quoted her most recent work, Everything Everywhere All at Once, by writing, "So in these difficult days of so much rage in the world, can we just try to find that quiet voice that the brilliant movie reminds us? Note to self, be kind, be kind, be kind." In our 4th spot, Kim Kardashian. While Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney rose to fame in the early 2000s due to their hit former reality series, Kendall and Kylie took a little longer to get where they are now. Nonetheless, every one of these Kardashian-Jenner sisters is undoubtedly known for their nepotism ways, but it's truly Kim that takes the cake for the nepoiest Kardashian of all time. As of the beginning of this year, Kim held $1.8 billion to her name, clearly classing her as the top ranker of the children of nepotism. In fact, according to the New York Post, Kim is allegedly the world's most successful nepotism baby, so much so that the Skims founder widely exceeded that of her own sister. But Kylie wasn't that far behind Kim, with her $600 million marking her second on the list. As per Forbes, Kim's wealth has stemmed from her stakes in her multitude of brands ranging from cosmetics to shapewear, on top of her success as a reality TV star. In our 3rd spot, Smith siblings. Both Jaden and Willow have established themselves as multi-talented creatives. While Jaden began his career at 8 through iconic films like Karate Kid, Willow broke out at 10 for her famous track Whip My Hair. But how they got there was off the massive backs of their acting parents, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's Will Smith and Set It Off's Jada Pinkett Smith. It seems Jada and Willow have teamed up to boost Willow's star power even more now, as the mother-daughter duo recently began hosting Jada's Facebook Watch series Red Table Talk from 2018 onward. Even more, Willow and Jaden's grandmother, Adrienne Banfield Norris, is another RTT host who got her start in a new metal band called Wicked Wisdom before her switch to acting. In our 2nd spot, Allison Williams. This Get Out actress understands her position between her and her famous parents, claiming she is completely fine with all of this. Allison has since acknowledged her nepotism title after the topic became a public discourse from New York Magazine's splashy cover story. More so, Allison informed Wired that, "It doesn't feel like a loss to admit it. If you trust your own skill, I think it becomes very simple to acknowledge." Allison is the daughter of former NBC News anchor Brian Williams and is the creative mind behind the vicious AI flick Megan, released back in January of this year. As the film's executive producer, she told Wired that she was fully able to be a part of fleshing out the movie this time and detailed the process of recruiting mainly female AI experts to consult on the film, explaining, "It was nice to be allowed to be as invested as I naturally want to be in something, which is completely invested." However, when it came time for Megan's press tour, the actress was undoubtedly blunt when she addressed the nepotism discourse by saying, "All people are looking for is an acknowledgement that it's not a level playing field. It's just unfair, period, end of story. No one's really working that hard to make it fair." Then Allison concluded, talented. It doesn't take anything away from the work that I've done, it just means that it's not as fun to root for me. And in our first spot, Hadid Sisters. The daughters of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Yolanda Hadid are two of the modeling industry's most in-demand fashion stars, and Gigi wasn't shy of admitting her understanding of her and Bella's nepotism baby status. In addition to this, Gigi claimed she didn't find herself to be the prettiest person in the world either. Still, she held her truth when the model told the London Times, "Technically, I'm a nepotism baby. My parents came from very little. I've always acknowledged that I come from privilege. My parents told me, just because you have parents who are successful, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't walk into the job being as nice and as hardworking as you can be." That's been today's WATN. I've been your host, Michaela, and thanks for watching, friends.